time since 2014, there are no seats open in any of the 17 U.S. House districts in Illinois because all incumbents are running for re-election, including Eric Sorensen in the 17th district. WIFR reporter Anthony Ferretti talks with Sorensen and his opponent, retired Judge Joe McGraw, about what the November election will mean for Illinois' 17th congressional district.
The race for this seat in Congress is among the most competitive elected positions on the November 5th ballot. This is an Illinois district that was redrawn prior to the 2022 election and now includes Bloomington.
We've got to get away from this. If you're not for us, you're against us. You know, I think that that's what this election is going to be about.
This election is huge. The consequences are beyond anything you can imagine.
The Cook Political Report shows Illinois' 17th congressional district leaning Democrat in November, which fares well for incumbent Eric Sorensen. As for his opponent, retired Judge Joe McGraw, he looks to be the first Republican in that position since the 2010 election.
They're ready for change, and they're ready to have someone represent their values in D.C.
The National Republican Congressional District recently named McGraw as one of 26 people for its Young Guns program, which supports candidates who are running against Democrats in November. McGraw says his experience with the death penalty and child custody cases will allow him to fulfill that role.
Mike Johnson is looking for people like myself, mature decision makers who can come to the table, get things done.
Data from the Federal Elections Commission shows Sorensen with a major fundraising lead through June 30th. Sorensen says there's more optimism than before for this year's general election, and this will be evident in November.
I remember the first time I voted thinking I was doing something so incredibly important, and I want people to understand that they're going to do that again.
Another thing at stake is control in the U.S. House. Currently, the Republicans have a slight advantage over the Democrats.
Thank you, Anthony. And back in the 2022 election, Sorensen defeated Esther Joy King for the seat previously held by Sherry Bustos. Sorensen received 52% of the votes.